Alright, so here we are again with the Dodge Ram 1500. Gotta make another little video to this transmission. I got it pumped up out of 8 bottles down here of this AMSOIL. It took all 7 of those, and it took a little bit of this one, like I think it took like a quarter of that one. So like 7 1/4 it took, and it's full. But I wanted to show y'all, where's my little flashlight guy at? I wanted to show y'all that I found the leak. And the important thing is, you know, I've gone through 2 boxes of this. Look what I got left, 2 cans, and this is like $35 a box. And I've gone through 2 boxes. That's how dirty this thing was. So we are going to show you this leak. Okay, now before I show you where the actual leak is, I'm going to show you how clean this is on this side that I just filled it from. So no drips, nothing funny going on over here. All nice and clean. The gasket is sealing real good. Everything on this side is nice and clean, right? So over here, this is the, let's see if I can get further back so you can see this that I'm shining the light on, touching. This is the transmission cooler. It's a pretty big cooler, right? And then here's your shift cable with the lever that attaches to the transmission. So if you look here, I'm going to take this flashlight off because it makes it a little harder to see it. You got to be careful with this hot exhaust right in front of my face. Okay, you see right there, you see the oil, and it's coming down from up in here, and it's trickling down through there. And if you see where that oil is starting to seep out of and trickle down this way, see the pan is nice and clean and dry all the way around. It's just right there. So I'm going to try to show you a different angle. Look up inside here where I'm shining this light, right there. Where this bolts to the transmission. This is the cooler. Let's see if I can come up higher and show you. Alright, maybe from the back over here. So this is the cooler for the transmission, and it has lines, as you can see, that run up from the top over the transmission that way, coming out that way, and they head, you see them up over there at the top, coming out on the other side of the transmission, and then they run out that way and head to the radiator. There they go. They run along this side, up over the transmission from that side, and they go down yonder that way, and they come over here and go out to the radiator. So I'm going to go back to show you where it's leaking. It's leaking from inside of there, where this bracket right here bolts to the transmission. This cooler bracket right there. So hard to record under it. You see down up in there, where that bracket bolts to the transmission itself, that's where it's leaking from. So I'm guessing that is the transmission cooler O-ring gasket to the transmission, from the cooler to the transmission. So that gasket is leaking, and you can see, I mean, it's not like it's gushing out, but it is seeping out of there and trickling its way down. This was all spotless, and then I started it up to finish filling it up. And in the time I was filling it up, this little bit has already leaked out and come down. So it's quite a lot that has to come off, because if you look here, I mean, this thing's got, this is a pretty big cooler, and it's cooling more than the transmission. It's cooling several things here. It's got several different lines. It's got hot lines coming in. It's got other lines going back out, and it's got the two black lines that are coming over here and go this way and head back towards the back. I mean, I'm gonna have to look this up online and do a little more research, but there's a whole lot of lines attached to this cooler, and the cooler has to separate. The shift lever has to come off. The lines that are attached to it. This is the cooler by itself, and it bolts here and there, and two more up top. And then the cooler will separate from the bracket, and then the bracket goes to the transmission block. Well, from the bracket to the transmission casing is where it's leaking. But you got to remove the shift lever, you got to remove the cooler, and then get behind the bracket. So all that's going to have to come off. And it's got to be cold, because you got to be able to work around that hot exhaust right now, and that catalytic converter that gets nice and hot. So yeah, man, it sucks, but you can see up in there where this piece of aluminum is bolted to the transmission, you can see the oil coming out. And the harder you drive it, the warmer it gets, the severe the leak gets. So all this has got to get tore off and get a new seal on that and put it back. 177,000 miles, you know, is to be expected. It's got some kind of a coolant drain plug. You see that? So it's like you can feel the coolant running through that if you touch it. I mean, it's pretty warm. This bolt right here. And if you look over here, try to give you an understanding of how many lines are attached to this thing. You got these black lines, you got the other lines running up and over, and then you have the two coming out from the bottom and the front. So you got a total of 6 lines. You got 2 here. You got the 2 black ones that are coming this way up and over the cooler. And then you got the 2 big ones running that way. And those actually have rubber hoses. And I don't know, but those hoses, I was touching them, it gets pretty hot under here, and they're pretty hard. Like, you can't squeeze them anymore. They're not rubbery, they're hardened. So right now they're not leaking, right? But you have to remove those hoses to remove this cooler to get to that seal. And those hoses are hardened, so they're most likely going to crumble when you go to get them off, and you're going to end up having to get the hoses too. So it's the cooler seal, it's the hoses, and it's a little more transmission fluid to top it off, and a little bit of coolant to top it off. So that's something else to deal with. And then I noticed while I was up under here in this position, that's the tensioner for the serpentine belt. We're gonna get a new belt, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to get that idler pulley and the tensioner. We'll do that later though. Right here is the water pump, and then right above it is the thermostat. And you could see, I don't know how well y'all can see that. You see where it started to leak a little bit from the bottom of that hose, that radiator hose coming off the thermostat? That means that it's gotten hot under pressure and it's leaked from there before. You can see a little bit around the bolt and you can see a little bit around the clamp right here where the hose is. So that thermostat wouldn't be a bad idea to replace. And then your water pump, it's like, look, you either wait for it to go out and overheat or you replace it before it does. It's lived 177,000 miles already. More than got your money's worth out of that water pump. You know, do you want to wait until it completely blows out, or do you want to replace it because you know it's going to go soon? So if you're going to do the thermostat and you're going to be in there doing coolant, bleeding it, all that, might as well slap a water pump on it. That way you know you're taken care of. Got a hot summer coming up, you'll be good. So this guy's already spent money. We're not going to try to get him broke in one visit. We'll do what we did now. We'll do the top end of the motor. He'll come back, we'll do the rear end, whatever. Once he's recovered from that, he can come back and we'll do this thermostat and water pump. But I'm gonna lose coolant when I remove this cooler because it's a multiple cooler. I see multiple lines. I would say it's just a transmission cooler normally because it's bolted to the transmission. But it is leaking from that seal, and it seems to be cooling more than just the transmission. It seems to be cooling more than just the transmission. It's got 6 hoses, 6 lines coming off of it. So the 2 rubber hoses up top, the seal, some coolant, this will stop leaking. Anyways, don't want to make the video too long. Just wanted to document there's still going to be some leak from here until we address this issue. Everything else looks gorgeous. Hopefully we don't let this go too long because we just cleaned everything else and it's just going to get everything dirty again. And, you know, we got the scanner hooked up. Flash ain't letting you read it. But it says 228 degrees Fahrenheit right now. So this thing runs pretty hot, and at 228 the temperature is halfway. This engine likes to run hot. I mean, that's 228 is pretty hot. I would have thought by now that fan would have kicked on. There it goes. So around 228, that fan kicks on. That's good to know. Yeah, back to what I was saying. We went through 2 boxes of brake cleaner. 12 cans in a box, $35 a box. If you look in the trash can, it's nothing but brake cleaner bottles in there, buried in there under dirty rags and everything. But normally I don't charge a customer for the brake cleaner. Normally if it's just like 1 box, I'll just consider it like shop supplies. But when you go through 2 boxes and you need a 3rd, you get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to charge this customer for at least 1 box of brake cleaner, you know, out of the 3 I'm using. But yeah, definitely need to address a few more things. We're gonna do the top end of the motor now, finish up the day doing that. I need a break to eat. I just wanted to make sure the transmission was done, and I wanted to run it and drive it and be able to make sure what's happening, that I don't have leaks, and be confirmed that I'm good to go as far as, reconfirm that I'm good to go as far as the transmission goes. So I've done my end of the deal on the transmission and it's good to go. All I got left to do now is do that cooler for him, but we're gonna have to obviously get the part. That's not gonna happen this weekend. We'll do that on the next visit. We do have one bottle left over, and he's gonna need it to top that off, so we'll save this for him. I don't know how much we'll lose through there. He might need a second bottle. We're not gonna need to buy a whole box, but maybe one more bottle, worst case scenario. We'll see if just this one is enough to top it off after I do the cooler and get the seal on there. But the good thing is, that's why you spend the money on the brake cleaner. That's why you get everything cleaned up, because now you can trace the leak down and make sure you're fixing the leak. Most people don't take the time to do that. It's not fun to be under there getting high breathing brake cleaner. I use a face mask setup, and even with the face mask, you're still breathing some of it in. It's a dirty job. Nobody likes to do it, but it looks nice and clean under there. Frame rails, transmission, top to bottom, bottom of the engine, everything's clean. Now we can pinpoint that leak. Now we know exactly where that leak is coming from. You got a leak from the transmission cooler. Was it leaking from the transmission pan? Yes, it was leaking from there also. Did it need to be changed? Yes, it needed to be changed anyways. That filter is part of the pan. It needed to be done. The fluid needed to be done. Everything that's being done, that's been done, needed to be done. We're just learning that there's a little more we had to do. We weren't planning to do the transmission cooler O-ring to the transmission casing. That's not something even I want to raise my hand and volunteer to do with all those lines attached. But when you're trying to take care of a customer, you're already knee deep in it, might as well go all the way. So I'll get them the truck back this weekend, and the next weekend or whatever, I'm sure this thing will be back. We'll make some more videos. Stay tuned. We'll do a video on the whole transmission cooler repair. I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna go eat something and come back and keep smacking this thing around and getting this job done tonight. Tomorrow is Super Bowl Sunday, and I don't want to be dealing with any cars. Anyways, thanks for watching. This is video like number 3, I think, and more to come, so stay tuned. Peace out.